Welcome back to the GSTL, sponsored by Hot 6. And speaking of which, we had 2 big Hot 6 cans. Normally in Korea you have this smaller can, and actually in most Asian countries they don't have the same standard size can, not 12-ounce one, but the smaller one. Someone stole our Hot 6s, man.
I was really excited about it earlier when we saw it, and I touched the cans and we're like, actually they are a little bit warm. So Wolf was like, you know what? No problem. I'll just put them in the fridge.
I took it to the private refrigerator, and someone stole them. Who did it? I'm
speechless.
There were no big cans in the studio except the ones we had, man. Someone stole them, and listen, if you're out there, I know what those cans look like.
The problem is there are like 1,000 of them.
Well, there's not 1,000 big ones, though.
Yeah, we can actually steal some from the Fnatic bench later. Look at this. They have like 20.
There's also...
we'll just grab 2, put them in the fridge, and then we install the webcam, so if someone actually steals them again, we can.
We gotta get the webcam this time because... Well, anyway.
Obviously, by the way, I think I mentioned this. I just said that before we headed into the break. It's obviously wrong. We don't have like a DRG being the last player. If Sniper loses, there are still 2 more on the bench. And there's an interesting thing that I've just heard, but we'll come back to this after we introduce our map and the players here live and Sniper in the 4th game of the day between MVP and Fnatic. We are good to go after this break, and at the top of the map in the red, Fnatic player starts. Already 2 wins. Will he get a 3rd? This is...
Fnatic Radical Alive!
Great hair. Every time I see it, I just have to marvel at it.
Same color as the Fnatic logo.
Yep. Clearly intentional.
Obviously.
At the bottom left, our Zerg player, 2nd one from the team MVP. Codes player, his ideas.
MVP! Sniper!
The thing that I wanted to talk about is that the Fnatic guys, I actually talked to them a little bit, and they mentioned that they think, they don't know for sure, but they told me that what they are thinking right now is that MVP actually sets up all their players and the before the game starts. Like, they tell one of the players, okay, you're playing first, you're playing second, you're third, you're fourth, and you're fifth. And they don't really care about what kind of players their opponent's team is choosing. I'm not quite sure if this is true, but this certainly is like being really weird.
No, that's really strange. It was rumored as well that IM does this, and I think it's really strange because everything changes in the middle of a match, and I think that when you have a plan like this, it's not smart. Because,
no, it's not.
I mean, obviously some players are better at certain matchups. What if the player you had planned for a certain order plays against his worst matchup on a terrible map? I mean, that's not something that he's going to want to do. I mean, do they have the maps chosen as well in that order? What if the maps that you want to play on aren't even available at the time?
Yeah, so it's not even only about the maps. It's just like if you have a wrong matchup, like suddenly one of your players has to play in the worst matchup for him. So this...
It can't be. I don't know. It can't be true. I mean, at least the plan may be pretty rigid, but they definitely have to have some flexibility. There's no way otherwise.
Yeah, I hope so. It was really weird when I heard it, but they said like, yeah, that's actually how they apparently do it. And I'm like, okay, this is like weird.
Upgrade.
But well, MVP is such a good team league team. If that is in fact how they do it, man, I guess there's something that we just clearly don't get about how the team league works.
No, I think we
pretty much know everything. I think they changed things up. Oh, he was considering taking the second gas, but that SCV said, no, I want second barracks instead. That was a split-second decision right there. It was, man. The silhouette was there and everything, and he was like, nah, actually, Raptor Hellions aren't that good on this map. You know, the Queen Passion was like, nah, I'm gonna change it up. He like went against what Alive said. Alive said, go make that refinery. He's like, nah, 3 racks, pressure. This is a build that Calder likes especially. I'm pretty close to Calder. We like each other. Yeah, I think I'll do this.
No, I really like it. I like the bio openings against Zerg right now. Well, as a Zerg, I actually hate them. I love when they just keep producing a few Hellions and I have all my Queens and can defend against it. So, but I think for a Terran player, it gives you a lot more options, especially if the Zerg is doing this very mineral-heavy style. And guess what? This is exactly what Sniper's doing right now. He doesn't have gas. He is relying on his Queens. He's on 2 bases at this point. So, Bio will be exactly the way to go for Alive, at least if he wants to apply some early game pressure, if he wants to attempt to take down maybe a Queen or 2. And he's already moving out and claiming the Zalnaga Watchtower. So, right now, Sniper doesn't see a lot.
I really like this because when you pressure like this, your opponent will have to make lings where ordinarily he would rely purely on the Queens. He's going to make sure that you cannot take a 3rd base as well, at least not easily.
Oh, did you see it? We have the extractor is already done, but he does not mine gas. He's delayed a little bit. I think he didn't realize that it's already done.
Yeah,
there it is.
Now going in.
Yeah, and he gets another 3rd base, and the SCV is there at exactly the same time. No. But does it really matter? I mean, look at what Alive is doing. He's getting Marauders, he's getting Marines, and he's getting Combat Shield, and he will hit roughly at the same time with the Combat Shield. What does the Zerg actually have then? He has a few Queens and he has Slowlings. He will not even have Speedlings. If Alive is doing this, that will actually work. But he's producing SCVs at the same time, so he's not fully committing to this with like most of his army.
The question is, when is he going to get his factory? When is he going to make the transition? He's already gotten double gas in his main, so he'll probably make that pretty soon. He could take a 3rd command center first and just continue to pressure with this. I'd like to see that. That's not common.
He might actually not pressure at all, because the problem that he has is, I think on a smaller map he would definitely go for it. But on this map, the problem that you have is if you attack and you take down, let's say like you take down 2 Queens, you kill a bunch of Zerglings, you are maybe able to kill some drones. So, job done, everything's fine, you did the damage, and then you retreat. But then, while you're walking back, suddenly speed kicks in.
Yeah.
And if the Zerg reinforces with the Zerglings right away, you might lose everything that you have. Alive is taking this risk. He has speed on his way, Combat Shield is done, and now he moves out.
Yeah, and he made 2 reactors while he was moving out, so he's going to do this, potentially do a parade push style, but he actually just got his 3rd command center as well. Stim is on the way here, and this is going to be really difficult to deal with without speed, but like you said, it is about to finish. Nice attack here. He does not have Stim, but he has the combat shields. Great micro. The SCV is tanking a little bit of damage here.
Now the Queens are off creep. The Queens are off creep now, but this is exactly what we just talked about. This is exactly the push that we mentioned. Speed will be done very soon, though. The Baning Nest is being built, but this 3rd base is kind of doomed, but there are 4 Queens. Are they able to transfuse? Are they able to take this army out? Here comes Fnatic Alive. Stim is not done. Nice micro here. Transfuse going off. Now he moves in. Another transfuse is available. Is the army big enough, though?
It looks like it actually will be enough to clean this up. The last Marines will fall. He doesn't even have to use the final transfuse. Well done. Nicely held. You know, the win rate on this map for Terran in Korea is actually like 30%. And the reason why I feel is it's so easy to run by the 3rd base. And when you lose your army like this, the run-bys become even scarier.
Let me just talk about this last push a little bit. I liked it. I talked about the risks earlier. But the thing is, Alive could have hit it a bit sooner. He had Combat Shield already done. So, of course, these are pro players. I mean, that's kind of obvious, and they are the best players that we have. But still, in the state that we're currently in with StarCraft, there's still a lot of improvement, a lot of room, especially in the mid and late game. The timings, that's why we always see new builds. It's not like the game has been perfectly figured out and you know exactly what you can do. And just how the build currently worked, you could see that if Alive times it a little bit different, he will actually arrive at his opponent's 3rd base when his Combat Shield kicks in. There will be like 10 seconds earlier, and this will also mean that Sniper doesn't have as many Zerglings and Queens as he had, so he can do more damage. This is not something that is really all significant, but I wanted to throw it out right now that even though this push was already like really strong and kind of a success, you can make it even better.
Oh, I like this timing to attack, by the way. He actually forced the Stim and then waited until the Stim was mostly done to run and surround the Lings. Hugely cost efficient for MVP Sniper. Alive in tough shape now. His medevacs are out, but they are late. His 3rd base has not even been moved yet. He's been just producing SCVs off of it. Worker count 62 drones to 57 SCVs. All he's got is pure Marine right now.
I actually don't think that it was all that cost efficient. How many Banelings did he have before this? Didn't he have like 6 or 8?
Maybe something like this, but he killed the entire army.
He killed the Marines, but he lost a fair amount of Zerglings as well, and losing those Banelings always costs a bit as well. So if you are able in engagement like this, if you happen to find yourself in a situation as a Terran player where you realize you will lose your force eventually, what you should do is try to take down... Oh, here we go again. This is actually getting a little bit annoying for Live. But yeah, what you should do is try to take down a few of those Banelings manually, just focus on them, take them down, and if you can take down 4 Banelings with you and a couple of Zerglings, you will at least be in a position where your opponent lost a bit of gas as well. And Banelings are... It always looks so amazing when Banelings actually kill Marines and Marauders, but if you played well as a Terran player and make sure that the Banelings don't take down 10 or even 12 of them, then you can still trade cost efficient with the production that you have at home.
Yeah, right now Alive he was ahead in upgrades, but now he's going to fall behind. He doesn't have his armor. He's not researching 2-2 yet. 14 Mutas on the way, plus 2 Carapace out as well. And the Infestation Pit is coming up here. Everything that our Zerg player Sniper is doing right now just seems to be ahead of his opponent now. He's kind of ahead of the scope of Alive. Alive can't really see the future right now because he's so focused on dealing with these huge Zergling groups in the middle of the map. He can't even think about what to do next.
Just look at the minimap. He sees everything. He has Overlords in every spot. This time we don't see this Viking for Alive that he had on Daybreak where he took down the Overlords. The creep spread is brilliant. It already crossed half the map. The 4th base is coming up. And Sniper is playing a really, really stable game here. And so far he didn't have any problems. And the drop play that he saw Alive use against Monster, he will be prepared for it.
Yeah, he's already seen it. He's moving his Mutas back as well to catch this drop. Totally prepared. I mean, he has vision of everything, like you said. He's going to see this drop on the left side of the map coming around. It's going to actually see this hatchery. Now look at this. No chance of anything.
He loses the drop. There's another drop to the left side of the map, but I think he spotted this one as well.
Yeah, he definitely did. He's not actually... Well, he could have seen it. It was seen on the map. Did he actually see it? That is the question, because it's now going to target down this hatchery, and he is way out of position to defend. Oh, it's getting low, but he's sending everything home.
He has to cancel. If he focused the hatch, he has to cancel. Yeah, there it is.
But he didn't lose the drone, and he will be able to remake that immediately, and he does. The Zerglings and Mutas totally shutting down this drop. He's actually hesitating a little bit. I like the pullback with the Banes. Takes out the drop, and meanwhile he's continuing to spread his creep through the middle. Alive is trying to be everywhere at once, but unlike in the last game, he is shutting down everything.
I mean, I'm not quite sure if our observer listens, but could we actually get a quick look at the vision of Sniper here? He sees everything on this map. He has Overlords and creep everywhere. It's like a legal map hack. He knows everything that's going on. If you just look at all these dots scattered across the map, he has the perfect vision. The only thing that he does not see is the inside of his opponent's main base, but with the unit composition that he is facing right now, he knows exactly what's coming.
Yeah, he certainly does. Greater Spire is on the way, as well as 5 Infestors coming out initially here. We'll probably add a few more. His Baneling count is starting to get a little bit insane, and he's just going to continue to trade now. Really, really cost-efficient trading. If he can continue this, will possibly be the end of Alive. I mean, he needs to make something work here. Upgrades are even for these players at 2-2, plus 3 start, a little bit faster for our Zerg player, though. And Alive is on even supply with his opponent, but how can he put pressure on right now? It's very, very difficult.
What Sniper needs to do, though, he needs to get additional gas. He has this 4th set up. I would actually advise to take a 5th now, and maybe even a 6th space, because he has so many minerals that he can do it. He has the vision on the map that he can defend against drop. He needs more extractors. He has a bank of 2,500 minerals, but he lacks the gas. He's currently trying to bank it up, but the problem is, if he later on needs to rebuild his army, that's something that he definitely needs.
Yeah, you're 100% right in that. Gas is the limiting factor at this stage of the game. Whoa! That was not good. That was a ton of gas lost.
He needs to think about what could happen and how he can actually get ahead. It's not only about getting the upgrades and getting the army, but just prepare for the next step. What happens if you lose your army? What happens if you get into a bad engagement?
Great bungle defensively here. Saves his Infestor. This drop is going to be fairly difficult to defend because he doesn't have the spines up yet, but he leaves just enough Banelings to shut that first wave down. Now he's got the spines. He'll be so fine.
And they are so important. We mentioned it after the Monster game. He's getting spine crawlers. We'll have a few spine crawlers in the main base as well. I would love to see a few also at the natural, because there are the Infestation Pit and the Greater Spire, even though it's an unlikely position for his opponent to drop. Burrow would also be nice to just borrow a few Zerglings at the potential 4th and 5th base of his opponent.
He's all these things that he could do with his injects, though. He has 54 larvae available, and he's still hitting all of them. I really, really appreciate seeing
Very
that.
good mechanics.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, just on top of everything, not missing a tumor, not missing an inject, making sure if he loses an Overlord, he replaces it with one.
Alive, though, is now pushing out slowly but steadily, and he has a huge bank. Alive has great upgrades, and he is just also making sure that he will be able to face Broodlords. He's going for the Vikings already. He's getting a second starport. So Alive is playing this really well, and we've seen Zerg players that dominated the game, dominated the map, being pushed back and losing the match. So Alive right now, with the composition that he plays, is in a good shape with in regards to his unit composition
And he's ahead
itself.
in supply.
The Thors will help him immensely later on in composition and combination with the Vikings. And look, he retreats. He sees the Broodlord.
Beautiful, and he sends only Marines.
Yeah.
Could have, if the spines were not there, potentially gotten the hatchery, but now he's out of position. One fungal! Oh, one fungal will change everything.
Oh, wow.
And he's not done yet. He's going to get a second one. Oh, the Banelings hit a Thor, though. That was a huge oversight. Oh, he could have done so much more there. Even so, he is going to continue the chase. Link's coming out here. If he can catch all these tanks, his investors will become tenfold more effective.
Alive was not ready yet. He's preparing for the Broodlords, but he's too slow. He overcommitted. He went in. He did not expect the Broodlords to be ready and to be in position this fast. He tried to retreat, but the Infestors, they caught up. The Fungal was definitely taking down a lot of Marines, and right now, Alive is really forced back. He has the Vikings, finally they're here, but what about the Infestors? Where are they? There is only one, the Mutalisk. He needs something to kill the air. If he's losing the Broodlords, that would be brutal to a sniper.
And he's going to lose them. Definitely so. One Infestor rolling in here. He's breaking through the initial army, but he is going to lose all of his Broodlords. All of them, in fact. Not a single survive.
A drop at the bottom left, though. He's trying to take down this hatch, and this is the drop play that we've seen Alive execute against all his opponents so far. Really well done. This is where he really shines. His drop play is definitely the one thing that always keeps him in the game. And here we go again.
Here we go again, indeed. He will lose all of these units, but the damage was done, and it was an effective trade against the units that killed the drop, in fact.
Did you see that? Did you see how he focused manually every single Mutalisk? He killed
done.
How many? 4, 5?
Yeah, probably at least 4 for sure.
A brilliant trade for him.
Yeah, I mean, when you clean up a drop but lose mutas doing so, it's never something that you're going to be happy about. Especially considering those mutas are what he's going to need to help deal with these Vikings. Ultra's switch, though, is already underway. But Alive, man, he has been prepared. He made the Vikings and the additional starport before he saw the Greater Spire. Now he's making Marauders before seeing the Ultras. He just knows his opponent's timing so well.
And he's on 4 bases against 4 bases. Sniper trying to take the 5th right now. I also said earlier that he should try to take it a little bit faster, a little bit sooner, and trying to make this happen. And now the Vikings are roaming the map. They're doing what he did with one single Viking on Daybreak. It's a little bit too late to make the early drops really work. We saw how beautifully Sniper cleaned them up with the Mutalisks immediately. But this time the the Overlords are dying. He supply blocked. Another drop hits home. And this is just Alive once again trying to get into this game.
Yep. And nice burrow on the Infestor.
He's digging his claws into this match, and right now Alive is in a great spot here.
I love cleaning up the Overlords, by the way. It makes his drops so much more effective, and he's got the Vikings floating around that aren't useful with no Broodlords out, so he's just going to go and find what he can.
Sniper earlier overcommitted with those
this could decide the entire game. Oh, and a great fungal! Oh, the tanks are on siege!
Oh my god, what was that? Alive chokes. Alive without any split at all. He doesn't split anything. He clusters his army up. He's completely caught with his pants down. And Sniper says, well, thank you very much. Here's the fungal. There are my banelings. Oh my god.
Yep, and now he's down 70 supply. A huge lead for Monster. He's still using his Vikings to try to clean up Overlords, but that's not going to be enough to turn this around. He needs more successful drops. The Vikings alone will clean up Overlords and make these drops more effective, but he has to actually have those drops. They have to work.
I actually think if Fnatic sponsors Alive some lessons from Marine King regarding his Marine split, Alive will be unstoppable. That's the one thing that that's the one thing that's missing. Alive is trying clustering up his Marines way too often. These fungals that Sniper was able to get in several times in this game are just too good. This army was so scary. It was such a scary army composition, and there were no Broodlords. It was only ground forces, and with a good split. But Here we go again. We have Sniper trying to win this game. A nice position though for Alive. He tries to make the Terran work in his favor, but there's just so much stuff for Sniper.
Indeed, and he's getting all the fungals he needs. The Ultras not really able to fight very well, but the Banelings, they break through. And the Ultras now, I mean, they basically don't even know what they want to shoot because there's not much left. Fnatic Alive down to 113 supply. His Ultras are going to start tearing through the SCVs. He's got nothing.
One Marauder and one Marine.
GG. He had a pure medevac composition at that point, and Monster stops his reign of terror.
Sniper.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
I don't know. He could have done better here. The one last engagement, this was really what cost him the game. Early on, Sniper was already playing really well, but Alive was just about to slowly but steadily get a hold of this game, trying to get back in there with his army composition. He took down the Broodlords, which was really a big problem. Sniper didn't have anti-air, but this, when he got fungled and his entire Bioforce died, then the Marines were kind of gone, and the rest of the force, the siege tanks were killed as well. This was really when things started to go very, very bad for Alive.
Yeah, certainly so. I mean, that one engagement put him in a position where he lost so many units that he couldn't even drop anymore. He didn't have that flexibility on the map. He couldn't clean up creep. He had to be on the defensive where his opponent had even base attempt, and he started taking more. He had the infestors out that he needed, and his fungals were, he never missed them. And I think he had the right amount of infestors. He never put them in front of his army where they could be killed by siege tanks. His fungal control was the most important part of his match by far.
Without the Marine splits, the fungals were amazing. It was the best thing that could happen to Sniper. And I think we're actually going to see Rain now. With the map choice that we have, I think that a Terran player on Antigua would be the weapon of choice for Fnatic, or should be.
Yep. I think so too.
Oh, it's actually Moon.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. Moon coming out on Antigua.
I love the way the way Moon walks. The way that he just got up, it's like so... I don't know, I want to call it cautious, but it's not the right word. It's like...
He looks like he's floating to me. It looks like he's...
that's kind of true.
It's like someone's got puppet strings on him, and he's actually being marionetted out of his seat and into the booth. Well,
he is the fifth race. He's the alien, so him floating, that makes a lot of sense.
It makes total sense, man. The more you say that he's an alien, the more he looks like an alien to me.
Just the way he moves in general. Also, when he... Did you see when he took the headset and put it to the side?
Yes.
It was like...
Look at this. Oh, that looks pretty normal, actually.
But a lot of things that he does, they look like they are in slow motion.
Some Daniel guy keeps tweeting at me, asking if we can put the old music back from GSTL Season 1. I'll talk to somebody about that. You don't have to tweet us 8 times. I see it. Don't worry. I mean, I don't know. It's not up to me, but I like the old season music as well. Both of them are pretty good to me. But yeah, definitely tweet at us at Crosswolf and at Caldor. We read every tweet.
So we talked that we expected Rain because of the map, but the reason why they choose it for ZVZ is because they want to... Well, Rain would have been a good choice, as a Terran player has kind of an edge over a Zerg player on this map, but this is also the reason why Moon chooses to play a CVZ. He expects that in a ZVZ he's able to beat Sniper, and who's left for MVP? Of course, there's Keen on the map, and what Fnatic tries to avoid is that Keen is able to pick this map against a Zerg player, so a very strategic map choice here for the Fnatic team.
Absolutely so. We'll see if Moon can pull it off. This is really, really important for Fnatic right now. Find out, takes this game right now.